मच बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी। एक वो है जो वायदा करके भुला देते हैं और एक हम हैं कि उनके वायदों को भी निभा देते हैं। अब आप सोचेंगे कि मैंने ये बात कही क्यों, तो मैं चिदम्बरम जी का भाषण पढ़ना चाहती हूँ। और उनके भाषण में जब वो NIA बिल लेकर आए थे तो उन्होंने कहा था, there are no extraordinary provisions and there are no unusual provisions. I have explained broad features of NIA. I would respectfully request all sections of the House to support the NIA. Let us allow this bill to be passed. I know there may be reservations about one clause or another clause, but this is the time to demonstrate to the country that despite our reservation, we are all united. Let us pass the bill. If in the working of the bill we find there are any deficiencies, then we will meet again. Unfortunately, he couldn't be in the house. We couldn't meet, so I'm here to complete that job. And the job is the lacunas which were found in the bill need to be completed. And those lacunas are in the administration of justice. बिट्टू जी ने बात कही, उनके परिवार में शहादत हुई, हमारे पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री जी की शहादत हुई, हमारे एक संसद सदस्य मनीष जी के पिताजी की शहादत हुई, और वो सब शहादतों से शायद कांग्रेस पार्टी ने कुछ सीख ली और तय किया कि NIA बिल आना चाहिए, क्योंकि नेचर ऑफ टेररिज्म हैज चेंज्ड and nature of terrorism is no longer restricted to the jurisdiction where the crimes are committed. And when the objection by Mr. Owaisi was taken on the jurisdictional issue, I have to tell him that IPC and CRPC were brought in 1900 something. At that time there was no internet, that time the global movement was low, and at that point in time the nature of crimes were very different. So criminal jurisdiction had a different point of view altogether. Today the crimes are cutting across nations, crimes are cutting across states, the nature of crime has changed, planning is happening somewhere else, execution is happening somewhere else, and third is a transitional route. And India is invariably, we are not just a global village, but we are a global hub. And in that global hub, we get into the problems which are faced by other countries. I was just thinking about Sri Lanka bomb blast. So this particular amendment and these particular enactments are with the view to support the UN conferences on anti-terrorist activities. UN Security Council in Samjhauta blast was talked about by Mr. Owaisi. I want to inform him, in that case, there are 3 narco-analysis of Nagori, in which admission to the contrary has happened. And whatever has happened in so-called cases is because of poor and bad investigation. To strengthen investigation, to train the officers is what we need to do. And it is surprising that people who have suffered due to terrorism in this country are members in this house and they are opposing a bill like this. And what is this bill trying to achieve? The bill is trying to achieve one objection which was taken is rule of law. Now I have to inform, and unfortunately the member is not here, but he talked about rule of law. The rule of law is prescribed by rules, and prescribed by rules because when you are creating special courts, you are working under the rules. The power of the court has not been taken away. In fact, the judiciary has been brought in, and High Court Chief Justice is the appointing authority. By doing that, when you designate a court, you take away the problems of nominating particular judges by name, and those notifications, they delay the prosecution of cases, and that delay in prosecution gets to be tackled by these amendments. And Bittu ji's objection to, and when he said कि इतने साल केस चलते रहते हैं उसी की वजह से तकलीफ है, to handle that, this particular amendment is a necessary amendment which has been brought in. Independence of judiciary, we all understand. Independence of judiciary is ensured. Independence of parliament, legislature, and independence of judiciary is very much part, and this act in no way hinders that. Then there were certain, there are four such courts which have to be appointed: Guwahati, Kochi, Kolkata, and Delhi. And in these courts, this particular aspect was told to West Bengal government. Kalyan Banerjee is not here, but I wanted to inform him that his government's role while in that DG's case was positive, but in this particular case, the government of West Bengal has not been cooperating in assigning this particular task of ensuring that there is a court which is assigned as an NIA court. Cyber terrorism has been imported from 66F. Couple of members talked about that. I must say, जब ओवैसी जी ने कहा कि मेरे बारे में एक वीडियो चलाया खुरासान में आईसिस ने कि मैं एक हिंदुस्तानी हुकूमत का गुलाम हूं और समथिंग टू दैट इम्पैक्ट, आप बताइए आज की तारीख में कौन सी एजेंसी उसको हैंडल कर सकती है? कोई एजेंसी हैंडल नहीं कर सकती, इसलिए ये अमेंडमेंट चाहिए. इफ दिस अमेंडमेंट इज नॉट देयर, सच वीडियोज, such issues, people from Kerala, so many of them visited ISIS, they are involved in terrorist activities outside the country. Under which law will you prosecute them? Under which law will you investigate them? Under which law will you cooperate with the external agencies and other countries? For doing all that, this gap needs to be filled, and for filling that gap and fulfilling the interest which Mr. Chidambaram expressed at that time, this particular amendment has been brought in. Deletion of section 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 of section 11. This is regarding to appointment of judges. This particular aspect was also brought in by Mr. Manish Tiwari. I need to tell him, when a particular court is designated, just 2 more minutes, I need to finish this. If a particular court is assigned as an NIA court, then these particular enactments become irrelevant and obscure, and for that reason these are unnecessary sections, and that's why this amendment has happened. Then prosecutors training was also brought in by Mr. Banerjee. I must tell him that Bhopal Judicial Academy is not only dealing with training of judges, but it's dealing with the training of prosecutors as well. Intervention in state jurisdiction was what Mr. Mehta brought in. Now I must tell him, as I've already stated, if the nature of crime is different, state government, excuse me, अध्यक्ष जी, मुझे अपने भाषण में जिन भी विषयों को लाया गया उनको डील करने का अधिकार है या नहीं? अधिकार. तो ये ऑब्जेक्शन क्या ले रहे हैं? अरे मिनिस्टर तो मेरे भाषण पे भी कमेंट करेंगे, वो. इंटरवेंशन इन स्टेट ज्यूरिसडिक्शन, it only shows I was listening to all of you very carefully. I wasn't sleeping. भट्टवारी मेहताब जी ने jurisdiction की बात की. I've already stated that nature of crime has changed, and since nature of crime has changed, state police is not equipped to deal with those aspects. It is for this reason DGP police is not the investigating officer. He is only an administrative head. Mr. Mehtab, what are you saying? No, DGP is not an investigating officer. He is only an administrative head.
You are informing the DGP police when you are going to investigate. Why not involve him in the investigation?
No, under the law,
I can't say no. You have no authority to say no.
I will say why. I will say why, because I am a trained lawyer. I mean, Mr. Mehtab.
माननीय सदस्य, नाम लेके मत पुकारें, प्लीज. एक मिनट. माननीय सदस्य, आप आपस में डिबेट करने के लिए सदन नहीं है. आप मुझे संबोधित करते बात करें.
अध्यक्ष जी, आईपीसी के तहत जब क्राइम होता है और अरेस्ट वारंट अगर सीआरपीसी में निकाला जाता है, उसमें भी इंटरस्टेट क्राइम हो सकते हैं कि किसी ने दिल्ली में क्राइम किया, उत्तर प्रदेश भाग गया, तो उसका क्या कानून है? उसका कानून है कि उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस में यहाँ का इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर जाएगा, वारंट के साथ जाएगा, लोकल पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म करेगा, उसको प्रोड्यूस यहाँ करेगा. यानी इंटरस्टेट के अंदर भी एग्जिस्टिंग जो बेसिक क्रिमिनल लॉ है उसके तहत भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन से लेके अरेस्ट का प्रावधान है. और इसलिए इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर की क्या सक्रिय भूमिका होगी वो ये कानून बता रहा है. एंड दिस लॉ इज गिविंग एनआईए ऑफिसर्स द सेम पावर्स as that of a police officer, and under those powers the officer is allowed to investigate the matter wherever the crime may have happened. Now, why registration of cases is important? I have given those examples. If the crimes have happened in Syria, if the crimes have happened in Sri Lanka, if the crimes have happened in Bangladesh, what is the provision under which Indian courts or Indian judicial system will act? The first and foremost is registration of the case, under which provision. Till these gaps are filled, the registration of case cannot happen. Until registration of case cannot happen, the evidence cannot be collected. Till evidence cannot be collected, the persons cannot be prosecuted. This is the first step under which registration of case becomes imperative, and thus the prosecution. Chief Justice has to maintain the continuity. Transfer hota hai, kuch hota hai, to maintain the continuity of prosecution. The courts have been designated rather than people by notification. जो बात उन्होंने कही थी कि existing sessions judge के ऊपर already इतना burden होता है, अगर आप उसको ये काम और देंगे तो काम नहीं संभव होगा. इस वजह से एक अलग कोर्ट को, let me complete.
माननीय सदस्य, आप मुझे संबोधन का जवाब दें.
So the designation of a court helps in maintaining the continuity of prosecution, even if the people get transferred or go to some other jurisdiction, and it is all meant for expeditious disposal. Mr. Raja commented about communalization of the act. Let me explain to him. I can take him back to what Mr. Chidambaram said. What Mr. Chidambaram said, I'm quoting Mr. Chidambaram, कि वो जो था वो कम्युनल लॉ था, ये सेक्युलर लॉ है. ये तो नहीं कहोगे, ऐसी उम्मीद करता हूं कि आपने देश का बहुत नुकसान किया है. What I'm trying to say is this particular enactment is actually a secular enactment. It is not defining the religion of a terrorist or religion of a criminal. All it's saying is, and in fact in the practical side of its jurisdiction, left-wing terrorism in Northeast, and all these things have been handled in a pretty much exemplary way. चलते चलते I just want to bring up six things which have been brought under this. Already 8 चीजें लिस्टेड थी, 8 चीजों के अंदर 4 चीजें और इसमें इंपोर्ट की गई हैं, और वो 4 चीजें 66A ऑफ IT एक्ट, एक्सप्लोसिव्स एक्ट, क्योंकि कई बार जब टेररिज्म के केसेस इन्वेस्टिगेट करते हैं तो बॉम्ब्स और अन्य मटेरियल उनके पास होता है, जिसका अधिकार जो है वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास है, इनके पास नहीं है, इसलिए इसको इंपोर्ट करना जरूरी था. ट्रैफिकिंग और ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग ऑफ विमेन और ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग, इससे जितना पैसा आता है, क्योंकि हम लोग गोल्डन क्रिसेंट और गोल्डन ट्रायंगल के बिल्कुल बीच में बैठे हैं, जहां पे सबसे ज्यादा स्मगलिंग होती है, ह्यूमन ट्रैफिकिंग भी होती है, और वो रास्ता बना हुआ है. इसलिए उससे डील करने के लिए 370 and 370A ऑफ IPC हैज बीन ब्रॉट इन. जो बहुत सारी बंदूकें तरीके की AK-46 वगैरह जो है वो आर्म्स एक्ट के अंदर भी उसको इंपोर्ट किया गया है, और उस आर्म्स एक्ट के अंदर इंपोर्ट करने के बाद में जो प्रोहिबिटेड आर्म्स है उसका बोर्ड तक डिफाइन करके बाकी सबके साथ शेड्यूल में उसको डाला गया, जो एंटी हाईजैकिंग, एटॉमिक एनर्जी वगैरह से संबंधित है. मैं सिर्फ ये बताना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि उन्होंने कुछ केसेस का जिक्र किया था.
माननीय सदस्य, आप बोल रहे हैं.
66F.
माननीय सदस्य, आप उनका जवाब.
आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, वो करेक्ट हो जाए. 66F. So NIA has a pan-India presence in which 272 cases were registered, and judgments have been pronounced in 51 cases, out of which conviction is secured in 46 cases. Overall conviction rate is more than 90%. NIA has secured conviction in the case of 5 Indian Mujahideen, IM operatives, senior operatives including Yasin Bhatkal, who has been awarded capital punishment for the twin blast in Dilsukh Nagar, Hyderabad, in serial bomb blast at Bodh Gaya. तो जब ये बातें करते हैं तो इनको ये पता होना चाहिए कि जो 12 लोग जिनको पकड़ा गया और 31 जिनको जम्मू कश्मीर में 6 केस तय किए गए, उसमें हाफिज मोहम्मद सईद, LET ऑपरेटिव, सैयद सलाउद्दीन, हेड ऑफ हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन, यासिन मलिक, चीफ ऑफ JKLF, शबीर शाह, सेपरेटिस्ट आसिया अंद्राबी, चेयरपर्सन ऑफ दुख्तरने मिल्लत, मसरत आलम, इन सबके खिलाफ जो है कार्रवाई करने से इनकी टेररिस्ट फंडिंग को कम किया गया है. और इसीलिए ये आवश्यक है कि एक तरफ धर्म को ना जोड़ा जाए, लेकिन धर्म को जोड़कर जिस तरीके की हरकतें पूर्व में हुई है वो आप सबके सामने है। आपको ये भी जानकारी है कि उन्होंने कहा था कि accused is not guilty till proven guilty।
माननीय गृह मंत्री जी,
आखिरी लाइन,
माननीय गृह मंत्री जी,
आखिरी लाइन,
माननीय गृह मंत्री जी,
the person is not guilty till proven, तो वो साध्वी प्रज्ञा के लिए किस किस तरह की बातें कर रहे थे और जो पेंडिंग केसेस है, जो खत्म केसेस है, उनके बारे में बात कर रहे थे।